So, Lakers season preview. Last year, they finished with a 42-30 record. That record probably doesn't speak to how good or how talented they were, as Anthony Davis and LeBron James both missed significant time due to injuries. They ended up being the 7th seed in the West, which put them in the play-in. They beat Golden State in the play-in game. And they were up 2-1 against the Phoenix Suns in the first round of the playoffs when AD went down with an injury. And from there, they lost in 6. So this offseason, it was pretty crazy. They pretty much overhauled the whole roster apart from LeBron and AD. So just to summarize quickly, because I'll talk about all these players individually when I get to the starting lineup and stuff. They added Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington, Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn, and Rondo. And they re-signed Taylor Horton-Tucker, and they lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Alex Caruso, Andre Drummond, Jared Dudley, Marc Gasol, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, Wesley Matthews, Ben McLemore, Markieff Morris, and Dennis Schroeder. So, yeah, a busy offseason. Let's get right into the projected starting lineup. At point guard, Russell Westbrook. Feels so weird. I almost have to remind myself every day that Westbrook is on the Lakers. He averaged 22 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 11.7 assists last year. And I think the big question is just how he'll adjust to playing with LeBron and AD and playing on the Lakers, because there is many ways this could go. Obviously, you think about his playmaking and how he can sustain the offense when LeBron is not out there. You think of his rim pressure, you think of his energy, you think of all the good things he brings and think, this could really work out. But then you also think about his shooting, which hasn't been good, his defense, which hasn't been very good, and things like that, how he takes a lot of shots, how ball dominant he is. Overall, I do believe it will work out. I believe between Westbrook and LeBron and AD, they are talented enough to make it work. I believe it will be welcome to have Russell Westbrook, for LeBron to have another ball handler on the team who can take some of the pressure off in the regular season, who can, create for him. So I think it will work. I think the biggest question is when it goes to the postseason, will it work? Because then you're going to want the ball in LeBron's hands, and suddenly Westbrook has to play off ball, and it could get a little bit messy. But for the regular season, I do think it's a very good addition because he can carry a team by himself and put up great numbers. At shooting guard, a shooting guard is sort of like the place in the starting lineup, which could be anyone. I've gone for Malik Monk. I think he averaged 12 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds last year and shot 40% from 3. I think he gives them a lot of what they need offensively. Mainly the 3-point shooting, but he has a little bit more than that, whether, now it'll probably be a bit more off ball, but, you do feel comfortable with him attacking a closeout or driving to the rim or, taking one or two pump faking and taking one or two dribbles. So I think Monk probably can give them the most offensively, in terms of also, he can give them the most offensively and also fits with LeBron offensively and Westbrook because he can shoot it. So could be someone else, but I've gone for Monk in the starting lineup. Then LeBron James averaged 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists last year, was on pace to win MVP before he got injured. I think, the only question is just his age, and, he is getting older, but it has been being said for like the past 5 years. So, I would expect him, he's going to rest some games. He might have an injury. He might not average as many points and assists and rebounds as previous years, but I think, what ultimately matters is that he's healthy for the postseason. And last year he had to do a lot with AD out, and he wasn't 100% healthy. So you'd hope this year with Westbrook and a lot of the Lakers' new additions, LeBron can honestly just take it a bit easier in the regular season and just be the guy for them in the playoffs or in late game scenarios. At power forward, Anthony Davis averaged 22 points and 8 rebounds in a down year last year. Obviously had injuries, bother him throughout the season. I think, health is maybe the biggest question with Anthony Davis at this point. He doesn't have the nickname Day-to-Day Davis for no reason, which is disrespectful but also pretty funny. I think health is one of the biggest things. I think his 3-point shot is also something to look at. Has been good or at least solid typically, but last year it wasn't great. So we'll see if he can get back to shooting mid to high 30s from 3, or if he's still inconsistent. I think that's even more important now with Westbrook on the roster. I also think, he is the youngest out of LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, so we'll see if he has more of the load or Westbrook has more of the load, or if it's still LeBron with most of the load offensively. Just how much they use him offensively, how much is it him posting up versus spotting up versus rolling, versus screen setting. Like, he can do so many things and is so versatile offensively. You just wonder what the majority of his things will be this year. Anthony Davis. And then at center, Dwight Howard. I do think they will start with Howard or DeAndre Jordan at center, because I don't think it's smart to play Anthony Davis at the 5 I don't think it's smart to start Anthony Davis at the 5 in the regular season. In late game scenarios in the playoffs, when they need to space the floor, when they need, someone who can switch more defensively, I think that makes sense. But I think going with another center, in this case Dwight Howard, does give them something they had in the 2020 playoffs, which is a lot of size. It gives them an identity defensively in that you're not scoring in the paint with Dwight Howard, LeBron, and AD on the court. I think offensively, though like Dwight and DeAndre Jordan can't shoot, I think their gravity rolling to the rim is important. LeBron, Westbrook both like to play in the pick and roll, so that could make sense. I also think, just having them in the dunker spot isn't the worst thing offensively, just because of the playmaking of LeBron and Westbrook, where, they can find a guy. We saw what Westbrook did with Steven Adams. We've seen what LeBron has done with a good, solid rolling big throughout the years. So I think, Dwight Howard, who I've said here, DeAndre Jordan, doesn't need to do too much, but will certainly benefit from lobs and just protecting the rim and being solid defensively. Off the bench, this team has a lot of depth, so we'll see, which players play, what Frank Vogel's rotation is, but Kendrick Nunn averaged 14.5 points a game last year. He provides some scoring off the bench. I think he could start, though I doubt it. I think this team is going to need players to step up on different nights, depending on how much LeBron rests. And I think Kendrick Nunn is a guy who can go get you 15 points on any given night and, win you a quarter. And I think in an 82-game regular season, winning a quarter here and there, having consistent scoring off the bench is very important. Rondo, I think he gives them more playmaking. I don't think he'll play too much just because he's not really a great shooter, unless his three-pointer is falling, or unless they have injuries, or they just need another playmaker, another floor general out there. Talen Horton-Tucker, who they re-signed, averaged 9 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 3 assists last year. Was really good, and I believe Game 6 of the Suns series, showed that he can handle the ball, and some of the off-the-dribbles threes were great, though he hasn't been great at those so far in his NBA career. I think there's potential there. I think rim pressure is something he can do, so we'll see if he continues to develop. I think the Lakers do believe in him, signaled by them re-signing him. Wayne Ellington averaged 10 points a game last year, 42% from 3. I think, you need shooters around LeBron. It's a proven recipe. I think the shooters will be important when only one big is on the floor, whether it's AD, Dwight Howard, or DeAndre Jordan. But really, they're going to be important for the whole 48 minutes, because I think the Lakers plan on having either one of LeBron or Westbrook on the floor at all times. So that's someone who can create for other players, but it's also someone you want the ball in the hands of. So they need off-ball players, and Wayne Ellington's a good shooter. Kent Bazemore, similar deal, 41% from three last year. I think he maybe gives you a bit more defensively and a bit less shooting, in terms of shooting like, off screens and off ball, that sort of thing. Carmelo Anthony averaged 13.5 points a game last year, 41% from three. He could very well be starting. I think he probably gives them the most scoring and is the biggest scoring threat out of all their shooters. We'll see defensively. He has good size and he does make an effort, but he is like 36. So, yeah, I'd expect Melo's scoring to be important for the Lakers. And, obviously he wanted to play with LeBron. LeBron wanted to play with Melo. So, we'll see how it works out. Trevor Ariza averaged 9.5 points and 5 rebounds with the Heat last year. I think he probably gives them the most defensively, just about out of all, these older bench role player guys. But the shooting is more of a question, 35% from three. And then backup center, DeAndre Jordan, just similar things, like pretty much the same as I said for Dwight Howard. We'll see how much AD plays the five. I think Dwight Howard is better than DeAndre Jordan at this point. But it's good to have another 6 fouls, another big body. We'll see. So overall, I think this Lakers team definitely has a lot of new players. So we'll see how they all adjust to playing together. I think it also depends on LeBron and Anthony Davis's health, both for their postseason chances, but also, just for how good they are during the regular season. Because obviously, if LeBron and AD are healthy for the whole regular season, and they're trying, I don't see why they couldn't be the 1 seed. But, if they're struggling with injuries, I think they have Westbrook, they have the depth to still be a playoff team. But, it's either sort of going into the playoffs in a similar situation that they were last year. There's also the Westbrook thing where, he is a wild card. So, I'll be very interested to see opening night how he plays and then for the rest of the season. Their defense and shooting, I'd say, are 2 questions. I think the defense was the staple of this team, not last year, but 2 years ago when they won the championship. So we'll see. They have Dwight Howard, they have AD, who, if he's healthy and dominant, he could win Defensive Player of the Year. But they also have guys who, are either pretty small and not great defenders, or are old, or, are just primarily offensive players. So we'll see if they can be a top 5 defense. I do believe they can. I think they were great defensively last year despite injuries. So I think they can do it, but we'll just have to see. They have made a lot of offensive-minded free agent signings. I think their shooting is also still a question, just because, in my projected starting lineup of Westbrook, Monk, LeBron, AD, and Howard, Westbrook, AD, and Dwight Howard are all below average 3-point shooters. Howard isn't really a 3-point shooter. And then LeBron, he's probably about average, maybe even a bit above average. And then they do have shooters off the bench, but we'll see, what's their trade-off between playing their best players and playing their best defensive players versus getting as much shooting out on the court as possible. If I give a prediction, I think they'll be the 2 or 3 seed in the West. I think LeBron and AD will rest, but will just be healthy enough, plus Westbrook, that I don't think any team in the West is going to rack up an astronomical amount of wins. And I think, they'll be good in close games, I believe, with LeBron. And I think they'll be good defensively. So I think 2 or 3 seed in the West. And then from there in the playoffs, depends on their health. But they're my favorite in the West to make the finals. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to this channel for more media content.